Hey, so welcome to a new episode. Today I am in Odaiba for a bit of stance, or should I say a lot of stance. This is StanceNation, Japan, and this place is absolutely brimmed full of stanced cars. So we're gonna do the usual. I'm gonna walk through all the lineup of cars and kind of check out what stands out the most, and then basically just do walk arounds of cars and try to give you like an overview of what showed up. It's massive, so I'm probably not going to cover the whole thing, but you know, I'll try to definitely select what really stands out to me. So let's get going. Z31 on some really vintage OZ wheels. Love these cars. This is the perfect place to kind of really find older cars that are just decked out and super clean. This is where you really only bring cars that stand out, you know, attention to detail done really well, and just kind of get the best of the rest, really. Perfect example of simplicity ruling over complication. S13 with a 180 front on T37Vs, craft square mirrors, simple all the way, nice trunk spoiler. Got the right type of exhaust. Next to it, slammed NSX. And I'll just keep walking because there's so much to cover here. Look at this thing, wow. Z32s probably have the most cramped engine bays. Must be such a pain to work on these engines. But nice to see one on over fenders. Definitely a unique look. I'll go over this side so you don't need to see my shadow in the way. Again, execution on point. Always a big fan of, you know, when VIP kind of meets, I guess, sporty, over-fendered look. It was kind of started back in the day, about 10 years ago, with B-Dragon from Gifu Prefecture. I remember doing a couple of features on their Crown Majesta and Infiniti Q45. They always had really cool cars, and the look was always grafting metal fenders onto the body but blending it in, so you got a really cool clean look. But yeah, let's keep going. S2000 pairing here, dumped to the ground, or functional look. In Japan, even Ferraris don't escape the slammed look, obviously on bags, or else they wouldn't be able to move. Nissan Cube. It's a bit of a pity that Nissan doesn't really make cubes anymore. I always thought they were pretty cool. With the asymmetrical rear end. Really nice FD here. California plates, because of course this is the place where USDM meets JDM. So it's a bit of a fusion of flavors. And this car is really done well. Widened, but all metal. Fenders tuck in there at the front. Yokohama A052s. Got the ACR Vantage here. Famous carbon fiber Aston Martin on Vossen wheels. Of course, vans are always very popular. Toyota Hiace and some XR6s. Another Crown. Just the right amount of negative camber to get that look. Got a sweet S13 here. looking just right on Meisters, chromed up Meisters, and a 1J swap. Oh yes, I approve. Top fenders. So the engine bay is painted in like a sparkly purple. This is so well made. Again, widened fenders, but all metal at the back too. Spoilerless, and of course another US plate. Good to see this thing again. I'll go around the front first, but what makes this crown really special is the additional exhaust systems. Like, I don't know what pipe is coming out of where, and it seems to have a couple of afterburners here as well. Sense brand. Something a little bit crazy. Coca-Cola S13 Cabrio. And I just spotted a Prelude. Don't see enough Preludes. Always cool to see one. This one on BBS LMs. Stance Lancer Evo. And another one. Hachiroku on Koenig 5 spokes. GR Hachiroku on some Advance. This is a more functional look. I really dig the TRD brakes. Nice touch. Oh, there's so much to look at, it's insane. Z34 with some aero fenders. S2000 on bags. Kind of a more show style FD from First Motion. 180 SX. Oh, check out this S13. It's got rebarreled old school 4 spokes. I forget the name of these. That I dig. This is a kind of more traditional VIP look, made it to a more modern Onikan stance. These more modern crown hybrids really suit the VIP style so well. Of course, in Japan you can never have enough Lambos. A couple of Murcielagos here from Team Anija. Big carbon spoiler on this one. Versace Racing, okay. Wide body. Forgiato wheels. Yeah, something different, I guess. So the Hachiroku with the Koenig wheels, now we're on a S15 with a similar designed wheel. Obviously rebarreled because there is some serious amount of lip going on here. Next to a Liberty Walk R35, but I just saw this Pandem kitted R32 here on BBS LMs. Check out the color of this thing. That is sick. So while I would never actually do something like this to my R32 if I had one, you can't criticize the way that it just looks so aggressive. Got full bright interior, or should I say Briddo, renowned steering wheel, roll cage, more newer gen crowns. Okay, this is like the perfect example of these kind of Japanese stance shows, even though it is StanceNation from the US. It's the variety that you get here in Japan that always surprises me. It's where you can find a GT3 RS parked next to an old Datsun. And then you turn around, you got a couple of Silvias. You turn around again, you got a Cappuccino. Actually, this car is quite famous here in Japan. I've seen this at the race meet earlier in the year. And the guy's 3D printed turbofan covers with the old Volk Racing kind of motorsport look. Baby blue S14 Stanced Supra. Now that's a lot of camber. T37Vs, white Recaros. This is so sick. I actually saw this at Wigfest earlier this year, I think. 5-spoke BBS, fully redone interior, and a very sick engine bay. Obviously the Mazda MX-5 lineup. So many here. Ending with a couple of older ones. Okay, you have to pardon me to stop and look at another 34. I thought this was pretty cool. So this is a 4-door, and I guess it's going for the 4-door Z-tune look because it's got GTR front, Z-tune bumper, R-tune hood. It's got the Omori factory logo on the side, and a GTR spoiler. This guy's enjoying it. He's even done the GTR meter swap. Bit of Civic appreciation here. Kind of the Kanjo look meets show car look. Always nice to see good execution on functional cars. 6th century here. Massive exhausts. Old school BBS RSs. And my favorite thing about these cars, of course, the optional lace trim for the seats. The Toyota Publica. So this thing is actually pretty sick because it was what got Japan back on the road after the World War. And it was basically the same approach that Fiat had in Italy with the Cinquecento. It was a cheap car for old people, or the Volkswagen Beetle. And nice to see one Stance on some steel wheels. Next is this beautiful red 180 on old school T37s in bronze. This is really old school. This is an old Cedric. Not aggressive amount of negative camber, but this is definitely the VIP style that was in, I guess, popular use back when I arrived here in Japan in the early 90s. So that kind of feared look, black on black with tinted windows. Another FD. This time on work VS's. This guy's going for insane Onikan. And of course, the bragging rights, right? When you still have the tire sticker on there and it doesn't get peeled off because the tire doesn't actually touch the ground. The VIP stuff continues, but what do we have behind here? This is insane. So, Volkswagen Golf front, I think? Rear engine. Toyota, I have no idea what this is or what it actually started off as. So it's got a tubular frame rear end and then a body just dropped on top. I've always been a fan of 3S beams swaps on E86s, and this one is extremely well done. Check out the V-mounted intercooler and radiator setup. Always a big fan of highly modified L-series engines, and this one sits on a beautifully restored mustard S30Z. So nice. Rebarreled BBSs and very well appointed interior too. Behind here, Z32 on air. And next to it, a Pandem FC on BBS wheels that I'm not really too familiar with, but they do look really good. Now this is really special. W124 on some OZ Futuros, rebarreled for that extra girth from Shiga Prefecture. That's a long way to come. And the Pandem kitted Corvette from J-Beat, made in collaboration with June at Hardcore, and right next to it, his Camaro. So there's a lineup of Team Anija supercars, mostly Lamborghinis, just revving the hell out of their engines outside on the street here. Just Japan having a bit of fun on a Sunday. I guess we ended up in the BMW corner here. My lord. I guess we should go have a look. That's what they want anyways, right? Keep coming. I think I counted 14 Aventadors. So while the Lamborghinis keep doing their thing, let's get back to the show. And there was this S15 where I left off. I love the look of this. This is interesting. I'm not sure what Top Gun is, but they've gone for this kind of like TVK one gun racer type bumper with integrated driving lights, fog lights, rays, 21Cs. Those crazy Recaro bucket seats made out of FRP, just with padding. Massive diffuser at the back. Pretty cool. Next to it, old school Sora on G7s. And check out this engine bay. Another great looking FD. Black on black T37s. Velside bucket seats. Yet another Pandem 86 from AS Yamagimoto. Looks so good on Eclipse. Incredible that these Velfires have just literally come out, and there's actually 3 of them here on air. Big VVS rims. Here at the top is the Alphard version, so slightly different grille. And this car is so popular in Japan that there's actually a 1.5 year waiting list for these things. So it's pretty cool seeing a lineup like this. For all you dads out there, you'll get it. Sick S30 with a very interesting engine swap. This is an SR20 with a Neo VVL head, so variable valve timing. Really nicely executed. Wide body. It's kind of a fusion of new meets old. Fuel take dash. So I just found out that the actual chassis this S30 is built on is an S13 Silvia. The whole thing. Hence the SR usage, I guess. So here's that wagon that we saw at Weekfest early in the year. So this is a custom made rear wagon section that's being grafted on, and it's so well executed. I actually thought this thing was a factory thing, but it isn't. It's built by HWA Asteroid wheels, and of course it's running precisely those wheels. Alcon Brabus brakes, front and back. It's a pretty unique looking thing, absolutely gigantic. And next to it, Takashi-san's drop top W124. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is a 488 Pista on 326 wheels, slammed down on some excessive camber. Look at the fitment on this. What do you guys think? Is this gonna make Ferrari very angry? here we go, another sick S13. Simplicity always works. Volk Racings, period correct. So simple. The high-end section here, more Ferraris. New Ghost, another Ghost on gigantic. What are these things? 24s. It's crazy when a car is so big that 24s look like decent fitment. And a nice Continental Mulsanne W12 Bosozoku bike. Hell yeah. With air horns. More vintage stuff here. This is an old school Cedric, possibly the actual first Cedric ever made. Slammed down on air on stock wheels. I love how old Japanese cars from the 50s look like American cars that are shrunken down a bit. Oh, it's actually a serious air suspension setup. 4 compressors and 2 tanks. Wow. Insane Hakosuka from Sakamoto Sangyo. I remember seeing these cars at Tokyo Auto Salon at the beginning of the year. Tons of dry carbon on these things. And again, I really apologize for the shadows here, but the sun is not helping out too much today. Look at the interior. Full-on race car conversion. Tilton pedal box. Carbon dash. Carbon doors. This is a Bosozoku starter pack. Little chopper bike. So sick. Car service hero with a really nice Datsun truck with Hakosuka front, so Hakotora. Next to the Datsun truck is this S15 Silvia with a 1J swap. The craziness continues. E36s, Excelsior on OZ Futuros, aero fenders, gently blistered rear fenders. I mean, honestly, there's just so much to look, and I feel kind of sad that I have to glance through most of these cars, so I'm just going to do a quick walk through here so you can at least get an idea of the variety that you get at these events. Like, these lineups are so varied. You have a little bit of everything. Both sides, of course. But let's keep going. Another Stance Evo M3 Daihatsu K-car. Beautifully slammed Sora on BBS RS's. Renoma seats. Such a cool interior. Love these boxy Toyotas from the 80s. Civic Type R and another S13. The S's are always a very popular wheel that you kind of see at these events. And Work Wheels actually has that massive booth over there because of course they're big supporters of the stance scene and always have a big presence at StanceNation events. Let's keep doing this massive walkthrough. R32 GTR, NSX on G7s, Supra on Advan GTs, GDB STI S203 on NKs, JZX, Accord wagon, Honda something or other, and a few luxury Lexus SUVs. Another car on VS's. And what on earth is going on here? Silvia Varieta that has a complete front cowl conversion. This is absolutely mad. What the? Crazy stuff. It's a very dramatic way to operate the folding hardtop. Wow. It's something quite rare. Mitsubishi Starion on SSRs. These cars are so rare. Bit of a pleasure seeing something like this. TSI forgot how boxy the design is on these things. A couple of CRXs, Mugen SIR, CRX Del Sol, EK9. S2000, Itasha, and a Supra Celica. This is some serious audio setup on this thing. So some Crown Majestas with some insane audio setups. But now that I can hear stuff again, let's keep walking. Just spotted this really sick Crown Majesta on AMG wheels. Loving the color on this. I always love the rear light setup of these Majesta generation. Of course, all the Crown Majestas come with a V8, the 1U. So they have the sound to match the looks, especially when they're dropped down on crazy wheel setups like that. What do we have here? 4-door Laurel on some equips. Such cool cars Nissan used to make. Nissan, what happened? Come on guys, we can do better. This is an extremely modified, customized Z32 with a rear hatch conversion. I think these are the guys from, oh man, I forget now. Curve, yeah. Curve used to do these kind of weird conversions. And I spotted the Revolve sticker in the back. So Revolve has always been a shop that supported Curve with their engine tuning side of things on those crazy conversions that they did. I remember doing a couple of really wide Z32s back in the day. Not sure if this is a real black limited, but if it is, wow. Billet, cam covers, absolutely weird, absolutely wild engine setup. Shaved and wire tucked engine bay. Tilt and pedal box, obviously. Briddo interior. Wow, this is clean as. Itasha ER34 4-door. My God, there's so much stuff to look at. Oh God, gotta keep walking. This is quite interesting. A new gen Prius with R35 wheels. So the Zenki model wheels. Came out in 2007. I've seen these things fitted to like cars like Nissan Elgrand's. They always end up looking way better than they did on the actual R35. Something a bit interesting. Crazy slammed K-truck. I'm gonna head over there because I just spotted that Yokomaku-san from Velside has a booth, so we'll go check out what cars they have. Here's the Velside booth. Okay, so we have the new RZ34 that we shot a couple of months back, the legendary FD Fortune, followed by a selection of Fast and Furious cars, Z33s, Mitsubishi Eclipse, the R34 Skyline, the Supra, and 2 new Supras. So great to see Velside out at events again. As you know, they kind of disappeared there for a while, but they're back in it now and showing up at events like StanceNation. Pretty cool to see. I think I'll check out this lineup because I spotted this really sick CRX on T37s. I love the chunky tire fitment on this. Really nice SEMA on SSRs. It's a pity nobody really buys big sedans here in Japan anymore, so the car that followed the SEMA, the Fuga, has been discontinued. So again, Nissan kind of losing that Nissan-ness that they had, you know, with all the VIP type cars that they used to make. This is a bit of a rarity. This is actually a Nissan Leopard on OZ Futuras. Always loved the look of these, and it looks so good with a two-tone. Of course, this is the very first Infinity car, the M35, and a very expensive collectible now. Prices for these are actually out of control. They didn't make too many, so that's probably why. Again, simplicity. JZX 100. It just proves that you don't need to do much to your cars. It's got to be like the right kind of detailing, like really well executed fender flares. And really funny because I was just in Malaysia and I got to drive a Chaser, but you'll see that soon. This kind of reminds me, like back in the day when I was shooting for print, they always used to ask me to do like the bonnet open, bonnet close shot, and then put the two pictures together to get the transparent bonnet look, but this does it for you. Okay, and the weird thing is, coming around to the back, I actually noticed this is a 4-door hatch. Now that is confusing. So actually they probably took a sedan and grafted the hatchback onto it, or this is some rare limited edition I actually never knew about, but probably not. Nice to see an FC, track prepped FC at a Stance event, because of course these kind of cars also rock Stance, but in the right kind of way, functional way. Crazy diffuser setup, twin exit exhaust, a couple of cool Lexus LCs slammed down. These cars look so good when they sit so low. Really sweet lineup of S chassis here. S15s with the coolest wheels ever. The T37Vs always work so well. And next, Nissan Micra, or Nissan March if it's JDM, with very widened front and rear fenders, all done in metal at the back too. Wide body R33 on Futuras. This is a Moontech car. These guys always do the best setups when it comes to completing a car all the way. Beautiful interiors, beautiful metalwork, and Stance right on point. Pandem 86, old school Prelude, and more shadows. Yet another new gen Velfire. God, these things look so good. If you have a family and you're forced to run like a family car, there's nothing that comes close to those massive vans. So much space and they look so good. All you need is the right fitment, the right suspension setup, and you're onto something cool. Here's another Moontech car, green ER34. We saw this at Weekfest earlier this year. Again, these guys really nail the look and fitment so well. Yet another. God, these things, man. on Emit's work wheels. I'm gonna keep walking down this section because there's a bit of shade. We can actually enjoy a few cars without massive shadows screwing up the shot. Yeah, it seems to be a Velfire Alphard kind of day, and you can bet that the Tokyo Auto Salon next year is going to be filled to the brim with these vans. It's a big market, and here in Japan everybody competes heavily when it comes to getting out parts for these cars quickly, because people really always modify them. And look at this beauty, S30Z and Watanabe's. No bumpers, all the way from Kobe. I don't know, what do you guys think of old vintage classics like the Z on air? It's a pity because, you know, the handling is going to suffer, but the looks, you can't really complain. And speaking of slammed cars on air, yet another Moontech car, this beautiful 964 that we saw earlier in the year at Weekfest again, along with a ton of other cars they built. Beautiful Carrera 2 on some rotiform wheels. Trust is here with their RZ34 that we shot at the very beginning of the year. This is actually my first YouTube video was on this car, so really nice to re-see this Pandem kitted car. A lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't. It's changed a little bit since then. It's got some E-drip seats and some vintage goodness thanks to a Greddy wood-rimmed steering wheel. Next to it is Greddy's development R34 GTR in that light blue that they repainted it in. Z-Tune front bumper, Z-Tune fenders, their turbos and piping kit, their new intake manifold. Beautifully executed again. LS appreciation here. Good to see these cars really making their way beautifully into the VIP side of things. And of course the Garage Miyoshi Liberty Walk kitted FD lineup. We saw these cars at Weekfest earlier this year. Always nice to see them. The actual main show is starting here, so it's probably best we keep moving. Bit of a 400R look to this one. And then right next to it we have a very internet famous LM Championship Blue R33 on bags. 34, and then we have Dai's R35 Pandem. I think I am embracing a bit of Mercedes love at this event. There's so much gold when it comes to old school Benzes here, and this W124 wagon on, again, OZ Futuras is so sick. These things are tanks and always look so good when they're just simply lowered on nice wheels. This is actually a turbo diesel model, and there's something to be learned there. I think as a takeaway, yeah, I mean, show cars are really cool, but I see a lot of repetition, and repetition kind of makes people a little bit tired of certain styles. And I think I would have to say that the cleaner and the more simpler execution always ends up winning, because it's more in the very minute details that kind of makes you appreciate a car. So for me, simplicity wins once again. Doesn't really matter if you're in a stance event like StanceNation. Any car should be built with simplicity in mind, because it always ends up being the car that stands out more and doesn't get people tired. So hope you enjoyed StanceNation coverage. All right, so I'm going to close the event coverage here for StanceNation 2023. I hope you enjoyed checking out a ton of slammed cars of every type. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite, what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you'd like to see more. So thanks again for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe and check back soon for more.